It's always a pleasure to be here. So my name is Houssem Jerbi. I'm from Smart PMO, and this talk is going to be about AI in construction myths and realities. So this is not going to be about the opportunities or the potential of AI, but it's going to be based on our experience working with clients in this space for the last 7 years now. So very quickly about myself. My background is in AI. I have started my career with a PhD in AI, and then I worked for the last 17 plus years in AI, leading AI transformation projects globally across different industries. Construction is one of them, but I worked on government projects, transport, edtech, finance, and so on, in multinationals, and then such as Facebook, and then also consultancies across the globe. And then I founded Smart PMO to focus on this one problem, which is time and cost overruns within large capital projects. So, as I said, I'm from Smart PMO, which is a company based here in Dublin, but we have global operations. We work with clients today in 8 different countries, and we specialize in the application of AI to solve problems within the construction industry. So we have since 2017 built an AI platform that was first in the world that used AI to analyze construction schedules, cost and resources data, understand uncertainties, and then use the learnings through AI to predict the risks and outcomes at different levels. So I think I was invited by CitA and Alan for the first time to speak about AI maybe in 2019. And at that stage, it was more about educating the market and promoting AI and presenting the potential of AI. But today we're going to more talk about how to properly implement AI and understand better how to implement AI. This is not going to be a sales pitch for Smart PMO, but I'm going to use our experience and expertise over the last years to provide some tangible and actionable examples and insights. So you all should be familiar with these numbers, and these numbers are the main reason why we are talking about AI in construction today and the opportunity of AI in construction. AI is the less productive industry globally after agriculture, and 75% of large construction projects are more than 10% delayed, and 59% are more than 10% over budget. And there are lots of factors that contribute to this. So, by default, large construction projects are complex, and the current traditional methods that has been used in the industry are not able to catch up and to manage efficiently the increased complexity of those projects. Lots of stakeholders get involved in a construction project, which make it challenging to do proper coordination and avoid problems and so on. But also, the way we plan the projects today is not the perfect way, since it's always or sometimes based on or driven by human optimism bias. That's why forecasts at the beginning usually end up inaccurate at the end with unforeseen risks and so on. So from the other side of the equation, we've got AI. And as Paul was presenting earlier, AI is not new. It's been around for decades now. Maybe it's more busy and more popular with the rise of ChatGPT and generative AI. But again, as Paul was presenting, AI is not limited to generative AI. So there are different areas within AI, from traditional machine learning, deep learning, reinforcement learning, and so on. So I'm not going to explain what each concept is, but with ChatGPT, the rise of ChatGPT, and lots of people are using it, there are lots of misconceptions and inaccurate statements and ideas about AI. So people think that AI can now solve any problem, or AI knows everything, or AI is magic, which is not to some extent true. And this is what we're going to try to explain later. So Alan was asking the other day, what problems could AI solve in construction? And this is not what AI could, but what AI is solving now as we're talking. So AI really can solve problems for all the different stakeholders in the construction industry, from the project owners, operators, to the general contractors, subcontractors, consultants, and so on. And this is throughout the project lifecycle or the construction lifecycle, from planning to design, construction, commissioning, and operation as well. So again, as I said, I'm going to focus on the myths and misconceptions that we've seen in the market for the last 7 years. So there is definitely a good improvement in how our clients are receiving the idea of applying AI to their construction projects, but there are some questions and statements that we see from our clients that are not usually correct. So lots of companies think that they don't have data for AI, which is not true in most of the cases, because I know that any conversation about AI comes down to a conversation about data. So no data, no AI. But if you're a contractor, if you're a client, if you're a consultant, if you're using, for example, for your project scheduling, Primavera P6 or Microsoft Project, or BIM for design, or even Excel, that means you do have data. Okay, then we don't have enough data. That's correct in some scenarios, but when you have data, sometimes it's possible to augment the data that you have. And in lots of cases, you underestimate the volume of the data that is generated by your business in your company, and the value that could be extracted from the data. And then lots of companies, when it comes to the discussion of the steps of the AI project and the requirements, they think that it's going to be challenging to get the data for the AI project. It will need too much time and too many resources, which is, again, not necessarily true, because, for example, in Smart PMO, we built data connectors. You call them data connectors, APIs, integration, system integration, that will plug in most of the project management software like Primavera P6, MSP, Microsoft Project, Procore, and then automatically extract the schedule data, resources, and so on. And for those clients who are using some, let's say, Excel that follows some templates, we also create bespoke ETLs or data systems that will read these Excels and extract the data for the AI modeling. Data quality is a barrier, yes, but any AI system has data pre-processing step that automate data quality checks. And don't take it that all your data will be consumed or processed or used by your AI, because generally there is a data filtering step where only the data points that pass the filter will feed into the AI and will be used to build your AI models and train your models. Now, clients say, and this is true, our data is not standardized. If I'm asked about technically now what's the main opportunity we've seen in this space, 7 years ago, that was the answer to this question. Because and that was technically the number one challenge we've had, and this is where we intensively invested in R&D in the company, is how to create AI that can analyze projects with different structures and then with different activity codings and naming conventions. So AI can understand that pouring concrete here is different from the activity pouring concrete in another project. And then PRC in this project is similar to the activity XYZ in a different project. But the other challenge is, clients think, and this is true, that every construction project is unique. So the first line there is true. the second is true, but the first one is not necessarily true. Because even if your projects are unique, that doesn't mean you cannot learn from those projects. So, for example, in the AI technology we've been building, we learn at the activity level. Think about Google Maps that take or learn from road segments, and then it generates routes, okay? Routes or journeys based on these small road segments. So AI can learn from granular data points and then build up the learning to the project level and understand or learn from project nuances based on granular data points. Now, the other misconception may be that if you are applying AI, you're ruining my data privacy and confidentiality, right? So be sure that there is, if you're working with an AI supplier or an AI solution, this doesn't necessarily mean that there is an engineer in the back office who is exploring and looking at your data. Generally, the access to the data is very strictly limited, and there is no SaaS or user interface tool that people will use to look at your data. Of course, don't take this for granted. When you're working with an AI solution provider, you need to understand the way they manage data privacy, and then you need to set some contractual terms in your engagement with them. But also, at least at Smart PMO, we don't use client data to advise other clients. So your data will be used to train models for you and to advise you. And then also, models don't include data. So even if in Smart PMO, we do provide two options, on-prem and on-cloud implementation of the solution. But even for the on-cloud implementation, that's the models that go on the cloud, not your data. And models don't necessarily include your data. So the last one here, we are sometimes, especially project planners and risk managers, they're under the impression that since they are using QS array, that means, they don't need AI to help them with risk assessment, which is not necessarily true, again, because we saw the numbers at the beginning. Those numbers come from companies who have been using QS array tools for a long time now. So, it's a quantitative schedule risk assessment. Okay. So, and this is the major, the methods that are widely used by the project management software at the moment. So, QS array, are based on subjective user opinions. And what AI does by learning from historical past projects, it will remove this subjectivity of input, and it will be able, based on learnings from past experiences, to detect risks that QS array and your planning team cannot detect. For example, risks that are far away from the deterministic critical path. So now moving to reality. So this is a reality now. And this is again one example of how AI is being implemented today for project management. So in our platform, as I said, we learn at the activity level, so we can feed in projects data from P6, Microsoft Project, and then if we focus on schedule data, we also learn from cost resources. So we learn from activity level, and then we can answer questions for a new project based on these learnings, questions like how long the project will take, so we can predict the end date, the risks at different levels, the project, the milestone level. We can recommend risk mitigation scenarios, and also we can assess the change impact as they come in during the project. So I'm going to quickly talk about some examples of how AI is used today in construction project management. So predictive risk management, I mentioned about QS array. So AI-driven risk management can help you find what you don't really know is a problem. So it can identify, as I said, examples of risks or risk events that QSRA and your current planning team cannot detect, but also it can recommend actions and mitigation strategies to avoid or to solve these risks. And there are different risk categories: risk, schedule risks, cost risks, subcontractor, and so on. Now, Paul earlier spoke about procurement in general, but in our platform, we have built a tool that's for bid assistance for contractors, and it could be also used by a client for tender analysis. So basically, of uncertainties. They don't have access to the construction site. There are lots of variables and so on, and that end up sometimes by inefficient or inaccurate allocation of contingency budget, and their commercial offer might end up being non-competitive. So they can use this tool that was trained on past projects, and they can input an early stage draft of their schedule, and AI will identify and measure the risks within the schedules, and then we'll show opportunities. It's involving incorporating a recommender system that will recommend scenarios how they can save days on this schedule. Sorry, they can evaluate different optimization scenarios and then submit an optimized bid schedule to their client. But also on the client side, they can use this same tool at the procurement phase when they receive different tenders from contractors. They can put in the schedules of these bids, and then instead, because nowadays, clients may be one of the key criteria they use to make a contractor selection and to award contract is commercial offer and the price. But we all know that the best price doesn't necessarily lead to the best contract. So they can feed in the different bids from the contractors, and then AI will predict and detect the different risks and do a comparative analysis, so they can make decisions not only based on the commercial offer, but also based on the quality and the certainty level of these bids. And then, for example, they can have a pre-award meeting with the best contractor and ask him, do some revisions before the start of the project. So another example is post-investment review that lots of clients and most of the contractors they don't have time to do today. So what this is for a completed project, if you feed in the baseline, the initial schedule of work, the as-built schedule, and then this AI tool will do a post-mortem analysis, and it will generate a report to show you what went wrong, to some extent why, and then what were the main impact of changes, the variances, and so on. There is a problem with the formatting here. I don't know. Yeah, because even the colors, shouldn't be black at the top. Yeah, but so this is one example from the implementation of the predictive risk management at the planning phase for data center projects. So just, it's not well, but let's focus on the results here. So just by via the risk prediction and the early mitigation of the risks, the client was able to save up to 7% per project of cost. And then on some planning of projects, they were able to save 83 days on the schedule through the optimization strategies that AI was suggesting. It was able to reduce the contingency by 13%. And then since they were, like most of our clients, they have been using QSRA, we did an experimentation, and we showed them that the AI-driven risk assessment method outperformed QSRA by 120%. So lots of our clients ask a fair question: where to start, and how to start properly. So I think any company that's looking to implement AI across the business, the first thing is they have to start with a comprehensive AI strategy. So they shouldn't be thinking or looking to build AI as a nice to have tool, but they have to build AI that will generate real business value. A very deep assessment of the needs involved in the different teams and departments is key. And then prioritization of the areas in the construction process they need to optimize or through AI is a key step as well. And as I said, that should involve the different teams. Then they have to identify and address barriers early, whether it's legal barriers, integration with existing systems, and so on. Now, some clients think, or they think that AI is another software tool, which is not true. So if you are implementing AI, it's not once-off project. It's a journey. And you have to, you will be iteratively improving this AI tool as you are using it. Think about a baby. He's born, you feed him, and then he will be growing, and so on. And that leads us to the question, how to de-risk the implementation of AI. So as I said, manage expectations, don't overestimate AI in the short term, and then don't underestimate it in the long term as well. But I think the key points here are test and measure. So again, this is not a software product. You have to test before it's implemented live, and there are scientific methods that will help you to make sure that before even the implementation of the AI solution, that's going to be work, okay? And we can talk about it quickly here. So, and this is what we do with our clients. So this is what we call a real-world blind test. So say, for example, if our clients is giving us 100 projects, we ask them to hold, for example, 5 projects. We're gonna customize and tailor our AI models and algorithms to the projects we have. They give us the baseline, what was the plan and what was the actual. So the baseline and the as-built schedules, if we are working on the schedule data, and then they hold off the 5 other projects. Once we customize our algorithms, our platform is personalized now to their business and their projects. They send us the baseline, the plans of the 5 other projects. We do all the predictions and so on, and they can compare what we predict versus what actually happened, which our algorithms don't know and they haven't analyzed. But then again, as I was saying, once you implement your AI solution, that's not the end of it. So continuous measurement is key. And this is where, maybe collecting data from the live production environment where the AI was deployed. And then, a good AI solution should provide you with, reports that are measuring the value. First, the accuracy, the technical, let's say, with technical KPIs, the accuracy of your models. But if they can link what value is the AI generating to the business, and I think that's a big win if your AI solution can do this for you. So yeah, I'll leave it here and I'll open it to questions if anyone has one.